talk about New Orleans. So, as I think everybody knows, early morning on the 1st of January, a car, or a truck, electric truck as it turned out, an electric truck, rammed through, just like we see periodically in Europe, rammed through pedestrians who were walking along Bourbon Street. If you've ever been on Bourbon Street, just on a normal weekend, it is unbelievably crowded. The street is usually closed, and it's just a walking street. And, you have hundreds, thousands of people in the street there. A lot of drinking is going on. New Orleans is one of the places where I don't know how it works exactly, but you can drink alcohol while walking in the street. You'd think that would be, I guess that's illegal in other places, but in New Orleans, there's a lot of public drinking going on, particularly during different celebrations. And this year there's a Super Bowl, I guess, later in the year, and now there was one of the college bowls was scheduled to be in New Orleans. So there's a lot of people there, a lot of merriment. It was New Year's Eve. People having a blast, having a lot of fun. And again, if you've been to Bourbon Street, you know how crazy and fun it can get. And then this crazy, sick, evil individual drove his truck. He killed, I think the latest number is 14, injured well over 30 people, and just destroyed lives, destroyed families. There were college kids and high school kids among the dead. Just horrific. Just horrific. If you look carefully at the truck, on the back there was a pole with a black flag. It looked to me from the original pictures that a black flag would probably link him to ISIS. It later came out that it was explicitly an ISIS flag. He was also carrying a gun. So when he got out of the truck, he started shooting. Ultimately, he was shot dead by New Orleans police. I mean, one of the good things is that there are a lot of police. There's actually CCTV on the thing showing the moment that he takes the turn into Bourbon Street. Now, why there's not a barrier there, and they were supposed to, there usually are barriers there, and it was low for some reason. They hadn't, I guess, raised it, and he just took a turn off of the major street into Bourbon Street and just plowed through people. Just terrific. Anyway, this is kind of something that we've seen Muslim terrorists do in Europe in the name of Islam. We saw quite a bit of it back in the heyday of ISIS in the mid-2010s, 2015, 2016. So this had that kind of MO, and I was expecting it would be a Muslim, and it turned out he was. From his name, and then Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42-year-old, born in the United States, in Beaumont, Texas, not far from Houston. He is served in the U.S. military for 10 years, actually served in Iraq, and had a pretty okay military service, nothing exceptional. He has been working at accounting firms, various accounting firms. The latest one, Deloitte. He's an employee at Deloitte. He also started up his own real estate company. He has 3 kids by 2 marriages. Both of the marriages ended in divorce. The divorces were not friendly, quite acrimonious. And it turns out he had been complaining about, being bankrupt, not having money, not being able to survive given his commitments in terms of alimony and child support and things like that. So even though he had a steady job, he was very much complaining. He attended a mosque in Houston. Now, it's not clear to me yet, from what I've read, when exactly he started attending this mosque, and who he befriended there, and when he was, if you will, radicalized. By all accounts, he seems like a pretty secular, pretty, nothing out of the ordinary, just guy, Muslim, but raised in America and served in the American military and served in Iraq even, right? So it just nothing exceptional jumps out in terms of any of his characteristics, in terms of this guy being somehow a radical Islamist. My guess is psychological stress, maybe the divorces, money problems, other psychological issues, probably led to somebody in that mosque, through that mosque, radicalizing him to ISIS. That could have been done all online, but there's a good chance that it was done in person. A lot of these things are done in person. We'll get to the mosque in a minute and the mosque response to all this. But people, they're still trying to figure out, what exactly was going on. They found, I think, some computers. They found phones, multiple phones, computers linked to him. The FBI, of course, has sealed off the home he was staying at, and they've taken these phones and laptops, and they're trying to figure out what motivated him. There'll be a lot of speculation. There'll be a lot of rumors. We'll get to that in a minute as well, in terms of his motivation, in terms of what happened. But given the ISIS flag, given that he is Muslim, it's quite clear that, or at least the FBI is saying officially, that he was inspired by Islamic State, which basically he's inspired by a nihilistic Islamic ideology that is supportive of the destruction of the United States, just the death and destruction to Americans and really all non-Muslims. And remember, Islamic State is very much dedicated and take the dedication very seriously. This is not a joke for them. Very seriously, they take it as the establishment of Sharia law, global Islamic empire. They really believe in this. At some point, the FBI was saying they thought other people were involved. They are now saying that they believe this was a single individual. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a single individual, but who was radicalized by somebody. And it'd be really interesting to find out and to see, who radicalized him and how he was radicalized. The mosque, interestingly enough, the mosque that he attends in Houston, put out a statement to its adherents, to its, people who go to the mosque, the people who regular at the mosque, put out a statement to them basically saying, if you're contacted by the FBI about what just happened, don't cooperate, don't talk to them, call CARE. CARE is an Islamist organization, terror supporting. The UAE actually considered them a terror organization, terror supporting organization. CARE is horrific. Supports the worst interpretations of Islam, the Islamism, but they're huge. They're huge in Washington, D.C. They've got a big lobby arm. They're the most vocal and present Islamic organization in the United States, telling him to call their CARE representative, to contact CARE, and CARE will facilitate their communication with the FBI. And at the end, it's something about the horrific events of the day or something, but no condemnation of this. No, it's horrible that this was done in the name of Islam. No, nothing. Just, hey, guys, you're probably going to be contacted by the FBI because you're part of the congregation. Don't talk to them before you talk to your CARE representative. And just horrific. And plays right into the idea that, there is and this is absolutely true. The reality is that given the free ride that Islamism has received in the West, and we'll get to more of that later, given the fact that almost nobody criticizes Islamism, and here I consider Islamism, call it political Islam, radical Islam, the Islam that believes in Sharia law, the Islam that believes in global Islamic empire, the Islam that believes that they will convert the West to being Muslim. The fact that nobody in the West, or almost nobody in the West, condemns them, the fact that nobody in the West identifies them as an enemy, the fact that nobody in the West condemns this as an enemy ideology, explicitly an enemy ideology. The fact that nobody does that, in spite of the fact that this is an ideology that preaches violence, that encourages suicide bombings or suicide killings, in spite of the fact that this ideology wants to destroy everything good about Western civilization, intellectuals in the West are afraid of it. Here's a stunning data point from yesterday. Right? I mean, basically, the same day that this horrific terrorist attack occurred, people went out into the streets in New York City with big banners and chanting, for global jihad. For global jihad. This terrorist attack was global jihad. This terrorist attack was the exact manifestation of what global jihad means. It means taking the Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi, Iranian playbook and bringing it to the West, bringing it to America, killing people. Global Intifada. Global Intifada they were calling for. Global Intifada in the streets of New York, global Intifada. Which is this. They were calling for violence in the street of America in the name of Islam. So, these people, when they do it, this is an important point, when they do it, like the guy here, and like the many, 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 many hundreds of terrorist attacks that have occurred for the last half century, when they do it in the name of their religion. They don't do it as a whoops, this is just me being Saudi or me being whatever. No, they do it in the name of their religion. They do it for their religion. They do it for religious purposes. Indeed, they believe in 72 virgins waiting for them. So it is their religion that it is the core of why they commit these terrorist attacks. And it's their religion, which is the reason why they are so criticized. They're so rarely criticized. God forbid we criticize a religion. But it's exactly Islam that is at fault, their particular interpretation of Islam. When Christians commit atrocities in the name of their religion, then their religion should be blamed. Particularly when the atrocities are consistent with the religious teachings, which is true in Islam. When Christians slaughtered Jews on the way to the Crusades, that was evil religion. They were doing it in the name of their religion. When Christians were Catholics, slaughtered Protestants for being Protestants, it was their religion. When Protestants slaughtered Catholics, it was their religion. And now, when Muslims, in the name of Islam, waving a flag of Islam, kill people, it's their religion. Because it's a religion that's a motivation. Somebody is saying, why blame a religion? Because that's what motivates them. They blame the religion. It's not even me blaming it. It's the person perpetrating it by shouting Allah Akbar, by waving an ISIS flag. They are saying, I'm doing this because and for my religion. So we should take them seriously. And we need to start criticizing religion when it leads to horrific acts, no matter what religion it is. We need to blame the religion. And in this case, it's this interpretation of Islam that needs to be blamed, Islamism. It is a barbaric, Middle Ages, right? So I'll just take these questions. Are we blaming Christianity for the deaths that caused in the American continent, African continent, Australian continent? When they did it in the name of religion, absolutely. Absolutely. Most of the deaths in America were not related to religion. They related to a variety of different reasons that we're not going to get into now, but not religious. A lot of the extermination of natives in South America were done in the name of Catholicism, and therefore Catholicism should be blamed. Absolutely. A lot of other killings were in the name of religion. When they're in the name of religion, when the cross flag with a cross is waved as the slaughter happens, yeah, I'm going to blame the ideas that led to it. I'm going to blame their interpretation of their religion. And here, I'm blaming their interpretation of Islam, because that's exactly what it is. That's what's to blame. And they all share a common denominator. So what happened, truly horrible. Hopefully, and I expect, and you can call me when I'm wrong, that this is a one-off. I expect that this is not the beginning of some new wave of Islamist terrorism, because I just think that there isn't the energy, the momentum, the excitement that there was around ISIS and around Islamism in the 2010s. I think this is one crazy individual radicalized by this ideology and doing this. So I don't expect a wave of Islamist terrorists.